We're in one of the most fascinating places in the Met. Now, De Rosenkavalier is on stage now, but around us are bits and pieces from countless other operas. Douglas Lebrecht is the man in charge of visual quality control for all of our productions. Hi, Doug. Thanks for spending some few minutes with us.
I'm glad to do it.
Now, over your right shoulder is something that looks very scary. This big old bull.
It meant to look scary.
Who's had better days, hasn't he? What's this from?
This is from Carmen, and the tail end of Act 4 in the bull ring when Escamillo has conquered this bull.
So our HD audience is actually going to see him next Saturday.
Yes, indeed they will. At the tail end, they have to stay till the last moments.
Now, I know that what you're working on now is Armida, isn't it?
Armida, indeed. Rossini's Armida, which is Mary Zimmerman directing, Renee Fleming starring in a premiere for us.
She's a sorceress.
She's a sorceress, and this is one of the things in an enchanted garden, a very large dragonfly, which we've begun with aluminum armature and blue foam, which is a typical material. And you see here a set of model shot, which shows that dragonfly perched on the wall, clearly this big.
Oh, I see. So you get this.
We get this from the designer,
and then
translate it into steel, foam, and other materials to create the dragonfly.
So this is all blue styrofoam then?
Blue styrofoam, typical insulation foam.
And then we have this very scary looking thing right next to you.
Part and parcel of Armida's enchanting work too. This is the sole thing left when a ghastly forest is transformed into a palace room, but there's a spider up on the wall.
Now, how did you make this one?
This one too was aluminum underneath, blue foam, and then on top of that this stretchy net with bits of fake fur pulled through, so it has that look.
Everybody will borrow that one for Halloween.
We hid it over Halloween to make sure it didn't leave the building.
Now, we saw a lot of birds on that scene last year,
birds?
so I see birds in several stages over here. Why don't you take us through it?
This is the model for this bird, and Liz is beginning to apply feather texture to a body, blue foam again underneath this linen covering. These
and she has
feathers,
a template for her feathers.
She does indeed. It's a piece of foam, typical texture put through, and then we move on to this, which is vacuum formed feathers. These are then applied to the bodies. You'll see more up ahead of us. Like the beginning of the dragonfly, Paul's working on a blue foam blocks put together. He does this basic carving. We'll cover on top of that and then do the feather texture on top of that.
Okay, so once it gets built, then you start the painting process, which is what we're going to see next.
We do from the surfaces out, and Kay is working on from this small model, again painting.
You got those models from the designer?
We got them from Richard Hudson, the designer, and it's lovely because we're able to work from them directly rather than finding research or doing
Right. So there's layers and layers of painting that go on here, aren't there?
Yes, this is just the first good take on it. There'll be much more.
Because I see about 3 colors of green already, and now there's yellow going on.
And then we'll do gloss, and there'll be a little pearlescent on top so that they shine.
Wow, amazing. And then there's one finished hanging up over here for us to have a look at too.
Yes, finished. You're seeing it really from this side. We're lucky in that this one has a blank side upstage. We don't have to finish it all the way around.
Gotcha. Now, we have a little city back behind us here. Why don't we
This is
tell us
Jerusalem,
what this is?
which we see in the first act of Armida. And you'll notice it's small here.
It's very small. This is going to look small on the stage of the Met.
It would, except it's 60 feet upstage and it's seen through all the openings in the set. So it will look like Jerusalem in the distance.
Oh, I see.
And leaves the forestage for the lovely Renee Fleming.
I see. Lovely. Now, you sound like you've been doing this for your whole life. How long have you worked at the Met?
Well, I've worked at the Met. I started in 1978 and I've run the department for the last 17 seasons. But I've been in the theater for 40 years, so.
And I understand you have some film in your background as well.
I did a lot of Broadway, and I did 8 years worth of film.
So when we do these HD broadcasts, you have an experienced eye at looking at things to make sure they're going to look good on
I
screen.
certainly hope so. I hope our audience right now is enjoying the Rosenkavalier.
Well, thanks, Douglas Lebrecht. Thank you very much for this great tour of the scene shop here at the Met. And now, back to Placido Domingo and De Rosenkavalier.
I am with our spectator.